The Fantasy Fanatics Podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.
And now it's time for Fantasy Fanatics.
Welcome into Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Ryan Risky.
And yes, this is Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. And you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Ryan Stuprich.
At rrisky16.
Yep. And you can call the show 630-403-5200, 630-403-5200. We were going to start off the show talking about the Bears more. We talked about it a lot on our other show, The Sports Renegades, which was last night.
It wasn't enough, though.
But that's right. It wasn't nearly enough. Just sort of talking about the Bears and what we think they should do. And obviously we pretty much think that they should fire everybody.
Fire every single person. I read an article yesterday that was saying that they're actually looking to fire Ted Phillips, too. They might fire people that are even above Phil Emery.
And that, I mean, do you think that that's a good move? Do you think that that's...
The man knows nothing about football. He's a businessman, and the McCaskies like him because he makes them money. He's the guy that decides that the Bears don't need like a turf field. He's the one that wants to keep that sod field. He claims it's a home field advantage for the Bears, even though the Bears players don't like it.
Right, and nobody really likes that field. I mean, it's such an awful field, and at least that's what everybody says and stuff. So
it is, and then Ted Phillips is also the guy that, let's see, I read it yesterday. He did something else that made people hate him.
It doesn't surprise me.
I mean, he's a businessman. Oh, he's the guy that raises ticket prices every year.
Right, and
he's probably going to raise them again this year.
I don't see how you can raise them after the awful season that they've had. I mean, how can you raise those tickets?
In Ted Phillips' eyes, they're a Super Bowl team, so he's going to raise ticket prices.
I'm thinking he should stay away from the football side and just focus on the other aspects of the team.
Oh, he's also the guy that hired Jerry Angelo. Look how that turned out.
Yeah, that was good maybe the first few years. Other than that, I mean, it didn't really get you anywhere. Because they did have a couple good draft picks that they got from Jerry Angelo.
The only notable ones you could probably say that a legit impact is Urlacher first overall or first round, 9th overall, and then that one draft you got Briggs and Tillman in the 2nd and 3rd round respectively, and then of course you get Forte in the 2nd round and Hester in the 2nd round. Except that's 6 guys in your 12 years that are notable players.
Now, did he draft Greg Olson or
he
no?
Did, and and then he traded him 2 years later.
Right, and that was more about Mike Martz than anything,
and Jerry Angelo being an idiot and trading him for a 3rd round pick. How do you only get a 3rd round pick for a guy you drafted?
I wonder who they drafted in that 3rd round. That would be interesting to see who that 3rd round pick ended up. Because I'm not sure who that was.
They traded that pick to Miami in the Marshall trade.
Oh, okay.
Except that was Phil Emery that pulled that one off.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's not a good situation. Of course, they host the Lions in their home finale this year. I wonder how many people are going to show up to the game. Do you think it's going to be less than the people that showed up to the Saints game, or do you think a lot of people are going to want to see Jimmy Clausen?
I mean, I think the Saints, part of it had to do with the fact that it was a Monday night, and the team was bad, and it was also poor weather because it was raining before the game. I think there'll probably be around 8,000 empty seats. Maybe I don't think it'll be about the 11 that there was for the Saints because that's a weekday game at night. And I mean, I think that because this is on a Sunday, and for some season ticket holders, I mean, going to Bears games every Sunday is a religious.
Right.
I mean, people camp outside the parking lots in their RVs overnight.
Right, and there's always people in the parking lot who are tailgating at 7 in the morning and stuff.
Right, getting drunk that early, and then when the Bears are done, they just bring their dishes with them. They watch the 3 o'clock game while traffic clears out. They go home, and then they watch the Sunday night game.
Yeah, I mean it's a big event, and when your team is bad, it just it obviously. It doesn't make, it's sort of, especially for the season ticket holders this year, it definitely probably feels like a waste of money.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when the fact that there were tickets against the Saints going for $30 a ticket.
I saw that. There was tickets in the grandstand going for $35, $40. I was like, I just might go get one and just go sit up there by myself and cry. But
was it actually tempting to buy those tickets? I mean,
it kind of was to see Drew Brees and a team because they're still fighting for a playoffs. They're still fighting for that division win. So I was kind of tempted. I didn't do it because it would have cost a lot of money for transportation and everything. But
right, and Drew Brees had a good game, 375 passing yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's still, really exciting to watch. And they have a big game this week, too, which we'll talk about a little later on. They have a big game between, I think they're playing at Atlanta.
It's at
Or is it in New Orleans? Okay, it's in New Orleans, so that's going to be a tough game.
Wait, this game's getting better than the Jacksonville and Tennessee game last night?
That game was actually kind of exciting in the sense that it came down to the wire, and that ended with the Jacksonville sack to win the game, but I think Jacksonville won 21-14 or 21-13, something like that.
Did you hear the guy that got the sack got a $6,000 bonus?
Yes,
for that? And
yes,
he did the
I
Manziel
did.
money
yeah,
sign.
Yeah, he did the money sign. So, he knew. So that, I think that was pretty cool that he got that sack at the end.
Yeah,
and we both picked Jacksonville too. So
yeah, we did.
So that works.
It was difficult to pick which team was better between the two.
Right.
I would have picked both of those teams to beat the Bears.
Yeah, because Jacksonville put up 21 points. I think that's more than the Bears would have been able to put up probably against them. So yeah.
Oh, probably.
So yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good estimation right there.
Right. Jacksonville would have kicked the field goal on their opening drive of the game, and then Mark Trestman would have abandoned the run already.
Yeah, he probably would have. Oh, we can't run with Forte now. We got to pass the ball and everything. Also, a little later on in the show, we'll be talking about the Cubs and Sox and more of their moves, and maybe preview fantasy baseball, who you should add, who you should have on your team. Yeah, for your fantasy.
All right, we
drafts.
can maybe make a mock draft for
we should make a mock draft. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Just later in the show, we could just do we pick in a 10-person league, predict who we think would be the first 10 picks.
That's what we'll do in the second hour for sure. We'll take a break and we'll come back. We'll talk more about the Bears and we'll preview our fantasy football league and everything. Fantasy Fanatics, SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
All right, we were talking about the Bears and the Lions a little bit, and just sort of the Bears season in general as it sort of
gets worse,
floats further and further away from us. So there's 2 games left. The Bears host the Lions, and they go to Minnesota to play at Minnesota. And that could be a deciding game between who finishes in last and second to last in the NFC North, depending on if the Bears win and Minnesota loses this week.
I kind of want the Bears to finish in the cellar of that division.
So do I. Yeah.
Just so that the McCaskies realize how bad they are and that they desperately need a change.
Have the Bears finished in last place in the NFC North? I think it's been a really long time since they've done that. Probably 2003 was the last time, if anything.
Actually, I believe it was the year after they went to the Super Bowl, they finished last. They were 7-9.
Did they really? Okay, Yeah. Did they have a chance to be 7-9 now? Right?
Yeah, I certainly hope that's not the case.
If they win, I hope they go 5-11 because that would just be. God, would that be very disappointing? That's the worst season that they've had for a long time.
Right. I want them to look as bad as possible in the record, and then, in a way, I still want them to be worse.
Right. Now, we both agree that Jay Cutler is going to stay with the Bears.
Here's the thing that I have. If I'm the general manager, there's really no better option other than Ryan Mallett as a free agent, which would be a good option, except you need a big commitment to Jay Cutler, and after 1 year, you're pulling the plug when he could have a good year with a new coach. And
Mallett's had injuries, right?
Mm-hmm. He's out for the season with an injury. And another thing, if you trade Cutler and free up $12.5 million in cap, what does that accomplish? Freeing up all that cap, do you want the new general manager, Phil Emery, to go shell out a bunch of more money?
Now you're going to go sign some
other free
some
agent
defensive lineman again, and just somebody who's going to tear their ACL, doing a victory dance on a sack. I don't want that. I think Jay Cutler's going to stay. I think they're open to trades if it's really good. I think that they might be open to trading him possibly.
Right. I mean, I just don't want to go and trade him just to free up the cap and then sign some free agent bust. There's just no reason to do that. I don't want to be relying on free agency anymore to add key pieces. I'm open to adding pieces like Willie Young, like depth pieces or pieces that are kind of low risk, high reward or could present a great value. I don't want to be going and handing out 5-year, $40 million contracts anymore because that's why you need to draft and develop. Oh, wait. Because the Bears don't do that, they have to shell out this money to guys who turn into complete busts. I mean, there's just no if you're doing it to free up the salary, you're a moron. That's just stupid. Do you want them to sign some other idiot?
No, I certainly don't. And they have missed on so many draft picks.
Right. I mean, in Phil Emery's tenure, the only notable ones I can think of are Alshon Jeffrey and Kyle Long. I'm probably missing some. Oh, and I mean, Bostic looks like he might be a serviceable linebacker.
Yeah, he could be something.
Serviceable, not great.
Right.
Phil Emery could have drafted Alec Ogletree, who's doing really well with the St. Louis Rams. Why would we draft someone that could be good?
Because it makes too much sense. It makes too much sense.
Exactly. Now, personally, going forward, I think we should both give our maybe 3 key positions that the Bears desperately need a major upgrade.
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe need a young talent that could be a superstar. So my 3 are left tackle, because Bushrod right now, I mean, he's good, except you want to have like a legit left tackle. Like Peyton Manning's got Ryan Clady. Let's see, Buffalo's got a really good left tackle. Like, your left tackle needs to be one of your best offensive linemen. And, I mean, Bushrod hasn't been that great this year. He's better than Jamarcus Webb. It's just, you need a franchise left tackle pretty badly. And, I mean, look at Tom Brady. He's got Nate Solder. So, I mean, you really need a left tackle. And then middle linebacker has been a disaster.
Yeah.
It's been a train wreck since Brian Urlacher retired. And that's supposed to be like the most important position on defense is your middle linebacker because he's the center of everything.
Right.
And then safety because the Bears just don't have anyone worthy of being called a safety.
I just sort of think in general you need special teams because their special teams, you know, it used to be so good. And then just a couple years ago, it just turned out so bad. So I think you need some key special teams guys. Some people that aren't going to get penalties every time there's a return. You know, like every time you're starting off at the 20-yard line, then you get a penalty, you have to go back from the 20, and then you're already in a bad position. So I think that is key too. And then I agree with you on the defense. You definitely need a tackle and a middle linebacker is very important because, as you said, that's the center of everything. So
right, your left tackle is supposed to anchor your offensive line for your quarterback to protect his blind spot. He shouldn't need to be checking to the left side because he doesn't trust him. And going back to the special teams, you're completely right. They need someone on special teams that has a brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when we left the Bears and Saints game a little early because we couldn't take it anymore. I think, they'd scored their second touchdown. And the thing that really irked me when we were on the way home, now it's completely true, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer were all over. Someone had made a penalty, like a legal block, and they're like, you should be able to know when you're making a block or not. Why are you
Right, it was an illegal block. I saw that on TV.
Yeah, especially when you're nowhere near the ball. Like, the special teams gets worse.
I know, it's getting worse. Well, that tells you Jody Camillus has to, I almost think he needs to be the first one gone. I mean, I'm sure they'll fire them all close together.
I hope the second after the final tick on the clock ends against Minnesota, Mark Trestman and his staff are informed that every single one of them has been fired.
That'd be funny if just like Mark Trestman, Mel Tucker, and Jody Camillus are like on a separate plane flying home. And they just like go to house hall to clean out their lockers and to clean out their desks and then just walk out and that's it.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be any more than that. I mean, that's what they should do, and then Phil Emery can go on and follow them.
Yeah, really, they'll let Phil Emery fire all of them, and then they'll have Ted Phillips fire Phil Emery, and then the McCaskies will fire Ted Phillips.
we'll have to see who the Bears hire. I know, a lot of people have said Mike Shanahan just because there's really nobody out there. And so Mike Shanahan seems like he would be a good fit just because he's one of the only people out there that might be willing to coach the Bears because of his connections to Marshall and Cutler. But then also there's some other guys out there. I don't know. I'm not sure who they're going to hire after this. I'm not sure even who's available.
Right. You might even have to look at college, except, I'm pretty sure any college coach would want to